Hello, and welcome to the next ReeVlog. As you can see, it's about 25-30 minutes past 7 this morning, and I'm only just out of bed. I've been awake since probably before 6, but I was sort of trying to sleep. I woke up because I had a dry mouth, so I reached over and drank my water, and I was like, oh, and I ran out of water. It was very upsetting, but the water has been refilled, which is good. And I'll make sure to drink more because I only had about 3 litres yesterday, and I usually have between 5 and 8, so that is probably why I woke up feeling the thirst. What was I gonna say? Oh no, there were 2 things I was going to talk about and I've forgotten one of them, so I'm going to go to the other one and hopefully remember the first one when I am done with this one. Oh, it's about D&D and my motivations in life, because there seems to be some crossover. I was thinking, since Tasha's is coming out, whatever, that I would make a character using like a Tasha's subclass or something, or at least using some of the feats and or spells that are in Tasha's. Of course, I don't know all of them, but they've said that unarmed fighting is a fighting style for fighters now, and there's a feat where you can, I think it's like fighter initiate or fighting initiate or something like that, where you can take a fighting style that you don't already have as the feat, which I think it's about bloody time they have that. And that's all well and good, but obviously there's a few classes that get fighting styles anyway. I believe Paladin gets one, Fighter gets one or two. I think one of the subclasses might get 3. To be honest, I'm not sure. I don't play Fighter very often. Then Ranger might get one. But if I'm not mistaken, that's just about it, to be honest. So I was thinking to myself, right, if I'm gonna have this unarmed fighting style, to be a monk without being a monk, so I can be like more like an actual martial artist than the fantasy variation, because I understand why it is how it is. But like, I want to have more versatility because monks are pretty much straight line people. They can run fast. At some point, they can run up walls and across water. They can hit things. When they hit things, they can do status effects, and that's mostly all they can do. They can catch arrows and throw them back. They can negate fall damage. They're immune to poison disease. They get all saving throw proficiencies, etc. But I was thinking, I want an unarmed fighter that isn't a monk. Where do I go for this? Well, my first thought was, I love Bard. You get spells. Spells are extremely versatile. You get expertise. And I like the new College of Eloquence 3rd level feature that is for persuasion and deception checks. Any roll of 9 or lower is treated as a 10, which means you can't get critical fails on persuasion or deception checks, which is the weak point of Bard, really. And because of the new rules in Tasha's, you can swap out bits of racial stuff for other things. I think that's how it works. I'm not 100% clear on it, but it says like you can make up your own racial background, and it mentions a feature or a feat. Whether that is a feat such as with human variant, or whether that is a feature from a race, I don't know. Because for an unarmed fighter, you want to be an unarmored fighter, which would put me in a situation where I'd want the Loxodon thing of you have a natural armor class of 12 plus your con mod, and you have and you can also swap out any form of armor for any other form of armor or weapon or whatever, stuff like that. So I would swap out the, I think, light armor proficiency bards get for shield proficiency, which would mean, should I get 20 con, which I would be after for all of the concentration-y spells, I would get 17 natural AC, 19 with the shield. And then when I get to level 4, I would take the punchy punch fighting style. So then I'd be a proper unarmed combatant. And I would be able to hold my own in a fight with a barbarian or a monk of a similar level. With the shield, without the shield, their ACs would probably be a bit higher than mine, and the monk would deal more damage than I would. The barbarian would probably have higher strength and get rage damage, brutal critical. Maybe I don't think you get that at level 4. But yeah, they would be out damaging me, but I would, still not just embarrass myself. And then I was thinking I could use my magical secrets to take some smite spells from Paladin, so that way I could use like Thunderous Smite at 9th level, or something like that when I get to the high levels, so my punches are still like keeping up in some way. I'd just be burning spell slots with my punches. And for the ones where you have to make a saving throw, the College of Eloquence Bard has a feature called Unsettling Words, I think it is, where you use a bardic inspiration and subtract the roll from their next saving throw before the end of your next turn, I think it is. But that's a bonus action, so you do that first. Well, you cast your smite spell, your concentration, your smite spell, and then you just throw out a non-concentration spell, and that's one of your turns. Be it like Vicious Mockery, because for some reason you can't cast a spell and a bonus action spell on the same turn unless one of them's a cantrip. Yeah, so you charge up your smite spell, you get the concentration going, and you throw out something like a Vicious Mockery. Just do a little something else on your turn because you can, and you don't want to be too close at this point, otherwise you might get hit. Which, whilst I would have Warcaster by that point, I don't want to risk losing my concentration. But got the smite spell going on, and then your next turn, you use your bonus action to reduce their saving throw by at level 20. That'd be a D12, I think. And yeah, if you reduce a saving throw by a D12 and you don't roll poorly, they're gonna fail pretty much all the time when you're that level, because your DC is gonna be like 20 plus. And they're rolling a D20. Even if they've got like a plus 12 to it, if you roll and subtract 12, then they'd still have to get a natural 20. And then you could do like Banishing Smite and just punch someone out of existence temporarily. And I thought that was really cool. But you only get the one attack, and all of that. So I was thinking I might go Fighter, because you can get more fighting styles that way. You get the unarmed one at level 2, then at higher levels you can get another one, but if you get the feat again, then you can get Mariner, which gives you a +1 to AC when you aren't wearing heavy armor, which would be great because you wouldn't be wearing armor, you'd have the Loxodon thingy going on, which would then mean that you have a passive armor of 18, 20 with the shield. Take Magic Initiate, because as a fighter you get loads of ability score improvements for cleric stuff, and you can take Shield of Faith, which put that up as your first thing in combat as your bonus action. 22 AC, meaning it's going to be hard to get hit, and I wouldn't take Warcaster with this, but it would be good because you'd have, loads of attacks. You just punch people all over the shop. When you've got the shield up, it's great. When you've got Shield of Faith up, it's even better. You get a couple cantrips thrown in as well. Bonus, take Guidance and maybe Sacred Flame, so that way you've got a ranged attack, and you can benefit yourself when you're outside of combat. Good utility. And then if you're a champion, you crit on a 19, which is just marvelous. But I was thinking Battlemaster, because that way you get like a full monk vibe. where they come at you and you can just bam, disarm them, bam, knock them to the ground, whatever. Though Cavalier would also work due to the amount of opportunity attacks you eventually get to make and all of that stuff. So that was an idea, but also Cleric, no, not Cleric, Wizard, Abjuration Wizard, because again, you take the Shield of Faith, Magic Initiate feat, and I'm not sure how you get the shield proficiency in this, but you can. I've worked it out. I don't remember off the top of my head. But you get the shield proficiency. You get the Shield of Faith. So again, you've got a 19 or a 21 armor class. But Shield of Faith is an abjuration spell, which when you cast, it doesn't have to be with a wizard spell slot to activate your ward. And then you get the extra hit points, and you're a wizard. So you can just cast spells all over the place. The only issue with that is that you don't get very many buff spells, and your concentration is going to be stuck on Shield of Faith until it gets knocked out of you. So being a punch wizard, I think, would be amazing. Just finding the right spells for it is going to be hard. Because you can only take Magic Initiate once, you can only take one Fighting Style, etc. So, yeah, that's not ideal, but I like the vibe with it. And so it'd be lots of abjuration spells, probably a couple evocation spells, and maybe some transmutation spells. Who knows? But why am I talking so in depth about this? Well, when I was thinking about it earlier, when I was on the loo, first thing when I woke up, I was thinking, this is why I train. I was thinking, oh man, it'd be really cool to play this character because I get to do this and I get to do that. And I was thinking, oh, it'd be really cool if we could have like a modern day game go on where it's like the actual world, how it currently is, but we get to play these characters in it and, you know, go out and do cool stuff. Kind of like Delta Green, but we are actually like heroes and powerful rather than just, you know, people who are incredibly messed up. And then I realised I'm aiming to become an MMA competitor. That is like the real life equivalent of a monk or a barbarian or an unarmed bard or something like that. It's literally D&D is what has inspired me to become the person that I'm becoming. Because on my board, my whiteboard, every year I review it. I review it throughout the year as well, but I make sure to do it at least at the beginning or the end of every year, so that way it's fresh and ready for the next year. And on it, I was playing D&D earlier this year, sort of summertime, beginning of pandemic D&D, and I became a werebear, bugbear, barbarian in my campaign I was playing in. And I'd wanted to become a werebear in ages, and werebears are neutral good. And my character was great, he had a code of honor, and he was really strong and nice and kind, and he was dexterous and hearty. He may not have been the smartest of fellows around, but that's just how games work. But I literally wrote on there, be the werebear. Because I was playing a character that I wanted to be more like. And that has really helped me to focus in on what it is I want to be. Because there's lots of cool stuff you can do in D&D, and lots of things you can explore. And for me, it's always been a little bit of like a power fantasy and all of that. But at the moment, it's more of a, how can I reflect my journey in real life in an epic fantasy setting? With a couple bits thrown in, like the werebear, bugbear, barbarian. It was a bit dumb. I think he had pretty good wisdom, but his intelligence was not good. But yeah, his intelligence wasn't good. But he was also bugbear, so he had long limbs, and he used a polearm, and I don't use polearms. I don't own one, which is different. The bard thing, I'm not super charismatic. I'm a little, like, I've got my charismatic moments, but that's it. They are just moments. Whereas the bard is just like, boom, charisma up the wazoo, yeah. The idea though, with the College of Eloquence is I was going to make a logic bard because I'm a logical person, and therefore it would be they'd still use the charisma modifier and stuff for all their roles and whatnot, but it's more of a brain intelligence centered thing rather than a just getting along with people thing, because it's making logical arguments. But that's still a persuasion check, so a persuasion check it is. So yeah, obviously you've thrown a bit of magic. Sadly, that's not something that I'm currently capable of in this life. If I find a lead on it, I'll take it, but I am yet to find a lead. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. Was I found something that has helped me shape myself into who I want to be. Because I've always wanted to be like a proper martial artist and a fighter, a warrior, more so than anything. I've always been fascinated by swords and armor and all of that. And then it's sort of more recently become a unarmed thing. I say more recently, like a couple of years ago, 5-6 years ago, I was like, yeah, unarmed fighting is way cooler than sword and shields and armor and stuff. Sword and shields and armor and stuff is really cool anyway, but I don't think it's as cool. And well, playing D&D has slowly crystallized that for me, and it's given me a clear idea of who I want to be. It's not fully clear yet, but it's definitely getting there, and it's helping. It's like my friend is planning on streaming our D&D when he starts it, when he's got everything ready, and we can organise like play dates and stuff. Dates to play. That doesn't sound any better. Days on the calendar, a schedule for gaming. There we go. Then he'll sort of let us know, but we'll stream it, The Last Dragonflight, and he wanted us to sort of come up with a dragon with a lineage and what the history was. And I based mine a little bit off of Fafnir, nearly unkillable dragon. If you do kill it, you become unkillable. And so that is what I went for, because that is the sort of thing I want. I don't want to just be able to hit hard. I don't just want to be able to dodge. I want, if someone sneaks up on me and bottles me over the head, yeah, it's going to hurt, but I'm going to turn around and punch them 4 times harder than they could bottle me in the first place. And then arrest them using citizen's arrest, because, you know, I'm not a murderer or anything. Though in D&D, of course, maybe it's time for the murders. Anyway, I'm going to go, because this is 18 minutes long already, and I don't remember the other thing I wanted to talk about, and I could just ramble about this for ages, and I've got other things to do. This is going to take forever to upload, so I will catch you cats on the flip-flop. Goodbye.